World War II was hell on earth. Bombs fell, families vanished, cities burned. But in posters, magazines and films, people smiled. Women laughed while building bombs. Children waved flags beside rubble. Soldiers grinned from trenches. Why? Because in every major country, Germany, the United States, Britain, Japan and the Soviet Union, propaganda wasn't just information. It was theater. It was comfort. It was a carefully crafted illusion. Those smiles weren't random. They were psychological weapons. Their purpose, to silence fear, disguise loss, and convince citizens that everything was fine, even when it wasn't. This is the hidden history behind the propaganda smiles of WWII. In the United States, the Office of War Information controlled nearly everything the public saw during WWII. The goal, keep morale high at any cost. Posters showed cheerful Rosie the Riveters, proud African-American soldiers, and happy children planting victory gardens. War was framed as a duty, but also as a celebration of American unity. In reality, factory conditions were grueling. Racism was rampant. Families grieved quietly, but smiling faces covered the pain. Even Hollywood played along. Films like Why We Fight and Casablanca rallied patriotism, not reality. The smiles were a mask for sacrifice. Behind every cheerful "we can do it" was a woman losing a husband to the Pacific. Behind every smiling GI was a kid afraid of dying in Normandy. But Americans needed hope, and propaganda delivered it, one perfect smile at a time. In Nazi Germany, propaganda was pure manipulation. Directed by Joseph Goebbels, it was designed to erase doubt, crush dissent and make Hitler seem like a savior. Smiles were everywhere. Hitler Youth children saluting with joy, families embracing the Führer, soldiers laughing over campfires. But these images hid terror. Jews were vanishing. Books were burning. Dissenters were imprisoned. But to the world, and to Germany itself, it looked like the nation was united, strong and happy. Photos of smiling Aryan women carrying grain, smiling blonde boys with swastika flags, even Jewish ghetto relocation films, staged forced smiles to fool international inspectors. One of the most sinister examples, Theresienstadt, a Nazi ghetto dressed up like a spa town for Red Cross visits. Jews were forced to smile for the camera right before being sent to Auschwitz. In Germany, smiling became a weapon, a way to hide genocide. In Imperial Japan, propaganda blended nationalism with ancient honor. Citizens were told to smile in the face of death because dying for the emperor was glorious. Kamishibai street theater, radio dramas and posters showed Japanese children grinning as they collected scrap for the army. Mothers smiled while their sons left to die as kamikaze pilots. Those images of calm, patriotic faces were designed to instill quiet obedience. Even during firebombings and starvation, propaganda emphasized the beauty of self-sacrifice. But inside homes, fear, silence and suffering. Speaking out meant death or disgrace. Crying was discouraged. Smiling was survival. Even on the battlefield, Japanese soldiers wrote letters filled with cheerful words and hope, but those smiles hid one of the most brutal war machines in history. Smiling during WWII wasn't just encouraged, it was demanded. But behind those forced grins was something more dangerous: denial. By masking fear and pain, governments kept people from questioning the war, the leaders, and the lies. Propaganda smiles gave hope, but also erased trauma. They shaped memory. They distorted truth. In the post-war years, veterans returned home broken, but felt pressured to stay positive. Women who'd smiled through the war were told to go back to the kitchen. Survivors of genocide carried wounds hidden beneath the cheerful images, still printed in history books. The cost of those smiles, a generation silenced by the pressure to appear strong. Nations unable to confront the full horror of what had happened. Propaganda doesn't just shape perception, it reshapes memory. And the truth behind those smiles, it was often unbearable.